Oh, here we go. Okay, so the first step is taking navy beans, also known as what, Mom? What are they known as? Pea beans, thank you. And we put them in the crock pot to set overnight. In just plain water. And why we do that is so they can absorb the moisture. And now that it's overnight, we are going to rinse the beans, and then we can start our cooking process. Okay.
See why you rinse them? See?
Oh. Look at all that residue. That's why we rinse them.
Then you soak them again. See? Look at a lot of residue.
Turn the crock pot on high.
You put enough water in it, because that's going to absorb.
Beans going. You have to plug in the crock pot for it to work. And now they sit for the day with the lid on.
On high for a few hours.
On high for a few hours. Then we'll put it on low, cover on, and we'll eventually add our chourico. So now we cut a pound of chourico up into thirds, because our beans have been sitting for about 2 hours now. And then you just toss it in, and then that's it. And you just put them in. It's hot. It's very hot. And then you stir it around, and everything will start absorbing. And we'll come back in a little and check on our beans. We're just going to check our ingredients real quick, talk about the history of chourico. Chourico and beans is one of the most common dishes amongst Portuguese households. I remember eating this since I was a little kid, and the history of chourico and beans, it is one of the oldest and most traditional Portuguese dishes you can find. It just simmers. You can throw onions in the recipe. Me and my sister like it plain, so we will not be altering with anything out of the normal, but you can throw in peppers, you can throw in tomato sauce. Sometimes my mom even puts in ketchup for a little bit of added flavor. You can put in some paste to thicken it at the end if it needs it, but also our main ingredient is chourico, and chourico is very common to this area in southeastern Mass. We make a joke that Somerset has the longest bridge in the world from Somerset to the Azores, because you can find the freshest chourico Portuguese ingredients at any market on the street. It reminds me a lot of Verona, actually, when you're walking down the street and all the fresh fruit markets and all the fresh meat markets. And we actually do have that in Fall River when you're walking down Columbia Street, a very historical aspect of the city where my mom grew up off of, actually, being 100% Portuguese. Chourico is a type of pork sausage, and a lot of types of pork go into it. It is spicy because it is made with red peppers are cooked right into it, and it has that nice red color if you can see it. And this is straight from Michael's Market, which is one of the most famous meat markets in Fall River. And we also order a lot of stuff off of PortugueseFood.com that my best friend's father actually owns, and it's right out of Somerset, and you can get fresh chourico, fresh, what do we eat? There we have packaged beans, pickled peppers, any type of pickled peppers, and it's fresh right out of Somerset. Definitely one of the main meals that we will eat once a week. It does take a while to cook, as you can tell, and it's still going, absorbing everything, but it is definitely a slow food dish with the time, not really the effort. It's not a lot of effort at all, but you can make this dish unique to every household. I've had it a million different ways. You can cook it with rice even, if you rather have chourico and rice. It is an excellent dish. It is very filling, and it dates back to before the turn of the world, from BC to AD. The Portuguese have been always eating chourico. You can cut up chourico and cure it, smoke it, and you can eat it raw like we did with a lot of meats over in Italy. A lot of similarities between how the Portuguese and the Italians cook, and they don't use the most complicated ingredients, but they use ingredients that are natural to the area and that represent them well, and they throw them together, and it's a great slow cooked meal. Now we have put our heat on low. I did that a few minutes ago. It has been roughly about 6 hours since we last looked at our chorizo beans, and they are looking quite nice sitting in the pot. And these can be eaten at any time. Let me just give them a quick try. Make sure the beans are good enough to eat. Make sure they're nice and moist. Terrible lighting, I'm sorry. And they're perfect. They fall apart. And then you just grab a hunk of meat, throw it in a bowl with a nice lot of beans, and that's dinner. Thank you for watching my video.
E como aqui a chuva pra ele é demais, ele vai pensando ao sol do seu país natal.